Hi everybody, I'm back. Dr. Greg here with what will be an interesting discussion here of what the real world looks like. This is a view from the field. This is talking about what people say when we ask them questions about data. What I'm going to be talking about here is some general ideas and impressions we get from talking to people in the field. I'm really going to lean here on a survey that's done as part of work that Acorn Evaluation does around data capacity in different programs. We've administered this survey a bunch of times. We have almost 1,000 people in it, so this is a pretty comprehensive survey. It's done at small programs and large programs, and it's geographically all over the country. So this is a very diverse group of Head Start folks that have contributed to this survey over time. And one of the things that's really useful about it is it lets us get an idea for what people will say when you let them do something completely anonymously and they can tell you something honestly and there's not really any repercussions for it. It's a very interesting survey. I'm not going to go through every detail of it here, but I am going to talk a little bit about what it tells us about what the field says about data. In the last learning block, I talked about how there's lots of barriers and challenges, and you have to be realistic. And one of the things that's really important when we talk about that is really understanding where your organization is. Most of you who are watching this are probably line staff. So the decisions that are being made, you're going to contribute to them somewhat, depending on your organization. It might be more or less. If you're watching this and you're a manager or supervisor or a director, one of the things you want to think about is, how do I know where my program really is? And how do I know where my line staff are? There's lots of different ways you can do that. What I'm going to talk about here, though, is what we've learned from talking about kind of what this looks like in a sense of honest opinions given anonymously, talking about data. Where is the field in general? And this should, at least theoretically, give you a sense of how to start asking questions about your specific organization. So in the survey that we do, we ask anonymously. You can come in, you can contribute, you can tell us things pretty much wide open without any kind of repercussions. The idea is to get a genuine sense of where everybody is around data. One of the most striking things about this is across all kinds of programs all over the country, big programs, small programs, urban programs, rural programs, everybody, this is a consistent trend. People feel data is important. When asked the question, do you agree or disagree or do not know, with the idea that data is an important piece to serving children and families, 95% of people agree. The funny part here is 4% say they don't know, and only 1% disagree with this. So there's this huge sense in the field that yes, data is important. But that's about where those 95% numbers go away. So not everyone is actually comfortable with this thing that they all say is important. So we ask a question. I'm confused at times about what the word data means. Now think about this for a second. I'm confused about what the word data means. Now, a third of respondents agree with this. So a third, 1 out of every 3 of the respondents to this survey, when you look at all Head Start staff together, say they're not sure. When people use the term data, they're not really sure what they mean. 2/3, they're comfortable with it, they think it's good. But 1 out of 3 is a lot of Head Start staff that don't really know what that word data means when they see it used all the time. But one of the big things here is that taking the average of Head Start doesn't really tell us a lot of different things because it's very different in different roles. If I just look at classroom teachers, 42% agree with the statement that they're confused about what the word data means, and 58% are not. This is 2 out of every 5. 2 out of every 5 teachers is not really 100% sure on what the word data means. But when we look at family advocates, it's 1 in 5. So family advocates, for whatever reason, and honestly, I don't have an answer. I think it's a very good question, and it's one that I look forward to exploring in the future. But 1 in 5 family advocates say that they're confused. So far fewer family advocates express some confusion about what the word data is than teachers do. Now, this is not picking on teachers or praising family advocates. It's not what this is for. The idea here is that when we look in real programs and we look at what do we hear from the field, you can't just look at the big average for your organization. You have to go and look at what do people in different roles say. If we take out line staff and we only look at managers and directors, well, most managers and directors are perfectly comfortable with what the word data is and how it's used, to a degree that line staff are not. So there's a lot of complexity to this. And when you're thinking about these things, it's an important part of it. There's some big takeaways to the survey that are important for people to think about. Yes, 95% agree that data is important. What's interesting, though, is that when we start to look at what do you do with the data, 80% of people say they share data with others on a regular basis. 70% of respondents agree that their programs use data to make decisions. Now, I'm curious to know what the other 30% of the programs are using to make decisions, since in theory, part of the performance standards are that everyone is supposed to be using data to make decisions. But one of the things that's interesting here is people agree that data is important. A lot of people are sharing the data, and the overwhelming majority do believe that their programs are actually making decisions around data. So data plays a very powerful role in Head Start organizations, and it's recognized by most people that it does. But there's a long way to go to make people really feel comfortable with data and to make people feel that they have the tools and the expertise needed to use it, or at least a comfort level in using it. Barely 50% say that they have what they need to do data analysis or reporting. So if you think about data analysis and reporting, what we're talking about here is the ability to look at the data and make decisions off of what you see. When we look at reporting, can I design something that expresses and presents the information to an audience? Only half the people in Head Start say that they're comfortable with those two things. Only 75% of respondents said that their programs provided written instruction for data collection or data entry, meaning only 3/4 of programs actually gave staff instructions on what they're supposed to be doing in these critical efforts. So 1 in 4 programs doesn't provide a written set of instructions to go along with what they're expecting folks to do for these critical components for gathering and entering data. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. Now, I could go on. There's a bunch more cool stuff. We ask a bunch of questions. It's fun. And there's a lot of nerdery in it. I'm a nerd. I enjoy looking at all the details and seeing how things break down. But one of the key things we want to think about here is when we're talking about what data capacity looks like in our program, we can look at the field in general and we can say, what's the big sweep across the whole program? But you want to be able to go down and say, are we doing the basic things we need to? Are we providing written instructions? Do the people who have to do reporting understand? Do they feel comfortable doing the things that they need to do? Or are they doing something because the person they replaced showed them how to run this report and put the numbers into an Excel spreadsheet? Data skills are new to most people in Head Start. A culture is going to take time to build. Building that culture will also depend on sitting down and having an honest conversation. Do we provide the right training? Are we helping people to do the things they need to do in the right way? You should expect that this is going to be challenging and you're going to have some trial and error in this, but you want to keep working on it, because what you want to be able to do is start off and say, what is the most important for us? Where are we? Do we have written instructions? If you do, great. ask the question to the people who are using them. Does this actually work? Do you know what you're supposed to do? Are you comfortable with this? And ask it anonymously so that you're not getting the answer they think you want. You're getting the answer that's real. And be transparent. Tell them why you're doing it. If you look at this and you say, I don't have written entry instructions and it looks like our data quality is low, think about how those things might be linked together. So keep working on it, keep putting it together. The idea of looking at feelings about data and these bigger picture things, it's not about just taking a look at numbers. It's about what those numbers mean for what's going on in Head Start programs. And what can you do to actually build and improve and make people feel more comfortable, make your staff feel more comfortable with data. It's a big part of it, but that's the view from the field and why getting that view is important. And in your organization, whether you're line staff or whether you're farther up, having a way of communicating what's really going on in your program and where real people are on a given day is an important part of bringing data out of the classroom and into the real world.